final step in completing the little Kiska model here, 6-foot Kiska model, is to create some sort of hanging system. The customer would like the boat, I don't want to hit the ceiling here, but it will be vertical on the wall. So what I'm thinking is that we can build some sort of bracket that comes out and just sits around and goes around the end of it, sort of like a donut of some sort that would sit in there like this, and the top and bottom get screwed to the wall. It could be sort of, you know, lifted up and out of the two brackets if necessary. The other option would be maybe just something that's a little bit more like a horseshoe shape that would come out of the wall. The main thing, of course, is where to put it. You know, if I do it down here, you know, it's going to be quite a large bracket that's going to be visible. I mean, you know, I guess if they were never going to take it down, I could just drill a couple of holes right through the cockpit here, and they could just screw it to the wall, like, you know, right visible, but up near the bulkheads, and they could literally just screw it right to the wall. But they have asked for some sort of brackets. I mean, the easiest would be that if it was sitting on the wall horizontally, just build some sort of J cradle for it to sit in. Even diagonal, some sort of J cradle would fit in there. But I got to be a little more inventive on this one, so it's going to come up a little mock-up a few options. And I will be building it out of solid wood, probably more likely a cedar or maybe a nice piece of mahogany to match the dark cedar that's in the boat. So what I'm thinking, this is just a scrap piece of plywood. Thinking if there's a bracket here, maybe a little L bracket, I could put a little gusset in the corner there, something nice. And that would be what would be screwed to the wall. But I don't want this to be so bulky, so, you know, it'd be kind of coming up, I don't know, something like this, through, and then coming around the bow. I don't know, like, how much do you want to see over the top of it? The bow end is going to be a little bit easier because there's a lot more rake in here. In other words, it doesn't have to be, you know, moved down the boat so much, and that's where I think that, you know, the idea being is that if I can lift it up into the bow and then drop it down into the stern end, and then it'll be held in place just by gravity. Because we look at the stern end here, you know, I'd have to get it to come back to maybe somewhere in this position at least. So I could probably shape it, I suppose, somewhat similar to the actual shape, you know, a cross-section view of the boat in that area. Could do that on the computer as well, and if it was, you know, to be in that nature, then it would just be coming up. Let's see if we can draw this, something up like this, in through and into sort of a hook like that, you know, down and then through to the other side. So what if I just start using some French curves here to get a general shape? So if I did that, come around like so. Around the end would be very small. Might very well just be that itself. And then we're going to have to try and mirror image that for the other side. Measure across here and say we want to go 2.5 inches. So that'd be 1 1/4 for center. I draw a line up from the center. I know the bottom of this is square because it was cut off on my table saw with my cross-cut sled. So then, at various locations, i.e. we could come across here, various spots, just draw some grid lines so that I can measure distances across and get it exactly mirror image on the other side. Or I could just make a pattern out of even door skin or even cardboard and then just flip it over. But we'll try this route first. I need 3 hands. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to tack this piece of door skin onto this piece of plywood to hold it vertical. almost like I need to glue the pencil to the end of the stick, which I'm not opposed to doing either. Break that off. We can just flare that out into a bit of a flange on the bottom so that it will glue onto something. Alright, let's cut that one out and see how that works. We just have to make the bow end big enough that it can slide up in that distance there and then drop down in to the stern. Now I need to make it out of a more solid piece of wood, so I'm going to go back to the 1/2 inch plywood here, approximate center here. I just need a line down there perpendicular, so that when I lay this onto there, that will skew over to the center line. Let's see how that would slide over the end, like so, right to there. That's not bad. I'm just going to mark with a pencil here where I need to shave a bit. We need to come a little wider down there. Alright, well that is getting close to the pattern need. I mean, obviously I'm going to need to sand it down, shave it up, and maybe even bevel some of these edges. I want it a bit bigger. I think I'm going to put a tiny thin piece of foam in here, like maybe just you know, weather stripping, peel and stick thin weather stripping, just so that it's going to sit in there nice and tight and not move around. Yeah, I still think it needs to go a little bigger. Now I did use a Forstner bit to cut that hole. I could go one size larger. I think I have the rough shape I'm looking for right now. So I can take it off. We'll clean that all up. Then it will just be a matter of making a mark somewhat, I don't know, maybe what? It's a ruler. 1/2 inch, 3/8 of an inch, and solid wood should be wide enough body around to hold it, and we'll, you know, clean all the edges up, round things over, make it look pretty. So let me go and cut that out. Now that I've set myself on my design for the brackets to hold up the little kayak that I've cut out of plywood, and pretty rough, but it gives me the general shape. I then glued together 2 pieces of cedar planking. I was concerned that one piece being, say, 1/2 inch thick, with the grain running perfectly and beautiful and straight, may be susceptible to just breaking, so I figured that 2 layers glued together with epoxy would be not as susceptible to splitting. So then I've cut the outside off, then I'm going to drill my hole in the end and then run my little bandsaw to cut the inside. Clean it all up and we're ready to go. With the brackets that will go over the bow and stern of the kayak hanging on the wall, I then made up a couple of little plaques or bases and put a little bit of an OG on there, make it a bit fancier, drilled some holes for attaching to the wall, and this will fit into here, which I'm going to glue in with a bit of thickened epoxy for both ends. Make sure that it is perpendicular and straight. Let that just set up. I'm going to coat everything with epoxy only to make it a bit stronger and to glue in the bases, and then clean it up, maybe spray a little bit of a lacquer onto there and they are ready to mount. So this is it, the final chapter in building the little 6-foot Kiska kayak model. I have completed it. It is ready for delivery. I did offer to build a little box board. It's, it's not really for shipping, it's just to protect it on its way to its new home. I haven't put the lid down permanently. I don't even know if I will, because it fits in there quite nicely. I just used some scrap ply, some cleats and some scrap lumber. Just secure it in there quite tightly. As always, thank you very much for watching. Now, I've had a lot of requests for plans actually for this little 6-foot kayak model people want to build. I am considering it. If you are interested, please let me know down in the comments below or email me directly and we'll see if we can put something together for you. I hope this has all been of interest to you. Do consider becoming a subscriber, at least give me a like up there. We're going to move on to the next series of videos, which is the Black Pearl, which is underway here now. So take care. See you soon.